Hello guys, welcome back. It's Pete, and we're building Demir Smiles F86. I just put the third and final coat on the wings here, top and bottom. Been doing this for a couple days, and this and that. I'm not sure where all the footage went of it, but we'll make it up on some other stuff. But anyway, they turned out real good. Got a little surprise for you guys here today, and I got some of the parts in from my Fly Achilles, and they're killer. And as you can see, we nailed it on the height of everything, building this with guessing and guesstimates and all that stuff like that. We absolutely killed it. Now what I got to do is, none of this is glued, guys. This is all just kind of sitting. And again, that is a Dynami canopy. I've got a brand new one to cut and do, but some of these parts are absolutely fantastic. And if you guys want a cockpit and build your own cockpits, then this is it. Now you're going to see in the sliding that this is actually extremely accurate. I couldn't be more happier about this part. And it's going to sit in here like so. But in order to do that, I need to cut a piece, and the reason I haven't done it was because, or glassed any of this in here, because I knew this was going to be a structural part into this. This will actually add quite a bit to make it, makes this rigid, and it's not even glued in yet. And there's other parts that go in it. I just have not put them in. This is all just loosely fit. Nothing's glued. Not until I get everything completely done. And then what I'm going to do here, guys, is on cockpits, I'm pretty picky about them. And I'm having to build my own instrument panel, which is not a problem. Now, I guessed on my tub. And so I've got to do some modifications to it to make it right. And basically what I'm going to do here now, this is the lighted head. It's all just sitting there. And it is awesome. I mean, once that's painted and detailed, a little bit of filing work and stuff is going to be just really amazing. But anyway, basically what I'm having to do is come back and adjust and add a little bit of wood onto this cockpit tub. And it's not a really big deal at all. And so, anyway. You know, this is a 15-inch tall pilot, as most of you know. There are tremendous amounts of details that go in. And like I said, this stuff is just sitting in there for whatever, keeping these careful not to break them. This looks just so much nicer. Now, the dash in here, I cut it loose and I just used tape. And this is actually a template. This is scrap wood that I was using, and it's going to have to drop down considerably. So what I'm going to do is, to make that other brace and piece that goes down, I'm actually going to take this, and the attach points will be across here, and then I will take this and it will actually glue in to being a piece, and then I'm going to cut another one to fit over this and all the way down. And I'll do that with this, and then I'll cover it with some ABS plastic, and then drill it and install all the instruments. Now this I need to cut back again and remodify this again. It's not a problem, since I was guessing on everything that I was doing. Actually very quick guess, and yes, it's sitting on the floor on a piece of carpet, not to scratch it. So anyway, we're into the detailing and glassing right now, and all these parts are everything. As I've said, nothing is glued in here. This stuff just all comes right out. Now this piece, I will glass it, sand it out, modify it, do whatever I got to do. Then once this is done, I will lighten this up quite a bit. Now, I'm going to add a couple little pieces that I did see in the other jet, which is why that brace sits down there. And I will cut this, literally a lot of that out of there. It doesn't need to be in there at all. So these just sit in there as a loose fit, and then they just will glue in from underneath. I'll just take and make a pastry bag out of a magazine thing with some microballoons and epoxy, and I'll glue them into place when it's ready to go in for good. Now the one thing I want to do on this is I want to actually bolt the, I'm going to bolt the windows in. And I'm going to have to do that first. So we got some pre-painting to do in here. And then we'll do a bunch of other little things to this. And again, this is going to have to be added in. And then this actually gets rounded down. We'll actually get a piece into here that actually channels down a little bit. I'll be adding a lot of tubing, a lot of wires, actual wire, and gluing them into place and getting it. Plus there's actual wires that go to the HUD and all that. And these are all going to have to be put in and built kind of in place. And then all these parts will be done. The hole's got to be put in through the back for the pilot's head so it will move. He actually he'll got a servo in there so he moves. And then all these other pieces after this is glass can be actually done, and then all this will be painted pretty much together. Then I'll come back in here and touch up all the screw heads and all that stuff like that, make them silver, give it a lot of little details and stuff and this and that. And there's a tremendous amount of very nicely done details, but there's also some sanding and things that needs to be done on those. So this is going to take a lot of time. But building the cockpit is something that I like to do myself because it stands out. And all the dummy screws and things like that will kind of go over a little bit more when it comes in and does. But these are just a couple of the parts that are just really cool, if I don't knock the airplane over. And this stick especially is absolutely beautiful. The buttons and everything. This is the premium stick. It's only about 20 bucks. It takes very little work. And now some of these gonna have to go and research some of the colors, but there's a lot of parts and stuff like that. They're gonna get a little bit of weathering stuff just to make them look that much nicer. And this is why I like to build. This damn thing looks like you can actually pull the trigger on it. So anyway, these things will be done. I'll get some stick details and I'll paint the buttons as the colors need to be. And then we will get the tub finished up. Now I've already glassed half of it, and I didn't do the other side because I was really kind of not digging it. And I made this light, and with glassing it on the inside, it's going to be, this will actually give it some strength. And then I will glass the outside, of course, and it'll literally become a laminated tub. It's going to be a lot stronger, be a lot nicer looking in there. And then all these other pieces and parts that do go in it will just be what they are. And I'll use little bits of body fillers and things like that in there to put it. But it'll be a lot of ABS plastics and parts and pieces that go in there. And then we'll just keep going with it. But some of this is going to have to be cut back, and I knew that, just in order to get these details in there. So this is what I'm going to start doing a lot more of right now, is getting this cockpit and actually the tub and everything done and installed into the airplane permanent. And this is not something that is for the timid. There's going to be a lot of masking and a lot of things that are going to have to be done in order to make it work a lot better. So anyway, I can seal it up easy enough. It's not going to be a big deal. There will be some preliminary painting and things like that that'll be done, but we're going to start doing that stuff. And at the same time we're doing that, we're going to be doing a lot more on these wings and getting them. And yes, that's Bondo under there. I had a couple little dings in there, and nothing that's going to hurt it. And anyways, the jet is going to start taking on the F-86 Sabre look here very, very soon. And we're going to start getting things done, start getting ready for paint. We're doing a lot of rivets and a lot of details in this. This airplane is going to look fantastic. And so lots of things coming. And if you're like I said, you got to make the decision on what you are going to build. If you're going to build this for absolute scale, you got a lot of work to do to it now. And basically, as it is, I've taken and actually built in a lot of features into this airplane that it does not have. So it does not line up on the kit, but that's the base of buying a short kit, because when you do the short kit and you buy all the options available for it, you will have a good base to build an excellent project. And looking at that right there, that just really, it's an eye-opener. It makes things look it just makes the airplane look amazing. So that cockpit and the seat and that HUD and everything else that goes in there really absolutely does make the jet something very special. Now, I know I've had a lot of guys asking me on the Facebook pages and stuff like that, and a lot of you guys are on there, and I've actually apologized because I've actually been sharing a lot of the content that I've been shooting on here on Facebook because most of you are there. But I've got a couple viewers here that are not on Facebook, and so I want to make sure they're taken care of too. And then we're going. Now, there is, if you're not building the sliding canopy and all that, there is a cockpit that is absolutely gorgeous that you can get for this jet, and it is available through Mears. In the same place you buy this, and the addresses and everything for that is right here. So, but I'm not willing to let well enough alone. I want something extremely special on this jet, and I don't want it to look like everybody else's. So, and obviously I've pretty well killed it here. Now, the one thing I want to make sure that you guys understand is that you got to take very careful measurements when you start building all this, and you should be building this in before you even consider a lot of these, because the kit alone for these parts is there's about $400 worth of parts in that fuse right here. Okay, so. But to me, it's $400 well spent to have something nobody else is doing in this jet. I want this jet to represent Top Gun in the sport jet thing just as amazing as it possibly can. And I have screwed up this airplane with some of this resin. I don't know how it got over here, but I did. Not a big deal. The stuff sands off. It's not going to be a problem. We got a lot of little things to do. Now, this skag right here on there, I'm entertaining the thought of changing it. And if I do, it's going to be, I am actually entertaining the thought of making this sharper. And the reason for it is because of the fact is that it's not round. And so I may actually carefully take and cut this off right in here and actually sharpen this off. And it's an afterthought. I may not do it. This is not a structural part of this airplane right here. But if I do it, what I will do is I will take and I will laminate some 1/4 inch balsa and actually shape that to fit it. Now, I may go ahead and actually make the part, glass it, and do this. So then all I've got to do is just sand this back a little bit and just epoxy it and fill it in. Not a huge problem. Now, I'm just really thinking about it. We got plenty of time. That's not something that's going to be a huge problem to do. But again, it was kind of an afterthought and probably not something that I wanted to actually conquer and do. So I don't know. I'm thinking about it. I think it'll actually make the jet look a whole lot better if I do. And I put so much into it now that a little bit more time is not going to be a huge problem. So anyway, I'm going to stop this for now. I will come back and we'll discuss more about what the whole interior part is on this and the modifications done and this and that, because I want it to actually be in. It'll have a couple braces and I want it to sit real nice. So anyways, I'll see you in the funny papers.